Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time of the year. The regular season is officially over for the YM Jack Summer League. Due to that, we had to go to a new, undisclosed location to record this. Um, it's gonna get hot over this past couple of weeks, next couple of weeks. So we just thought we'd try and stay inside and stay cool. You know what I mean? Um, got my man Ramsey here. Got my man Hashim here. Last but not least, special guest Ahsan Sharif. In MVP contention, are in the top three for the MVP contention. It's great to have all you guys here. Before we get to Ahsan and all the good stuff from him, let's just go over the regular season. We had like preseason previews, things like that. There's one thing I want to go over. Just let's go over this. I have my handy dandy laptop here to go over. I just want to go over these award predictions, right? So for MVP, we had me in 1, Yusuf in 2, Amir in 3, Maher 4, Umar Coker in 5, but no Ahsan, which is pretty crazy to think now that, Ahsan is in almost every statistical category top 5. So, obviously the preseason stuff doesn't matter, but Ahsan, how do you feel about your season? Obviously, you're probably, top 2 favorite for MVP, maybe between you, Yusuf. So how do you feel about your season? Obviously, rough last week for you guys. Just talk about that and just everything else in general, your team and all that good stuff.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Happy to be on here. Finally got the call to come up here and do the show with my guys. So happy to be here. Season-wise, it's a great season, alhamdulillah. Again, better. The league just keeps getting better and better each year. And this year, I feel like we took another couple steps. Team-wise, I thought it was a really, really solid season for us. Just progressively trying to get better and better each week. And I thought we accomplished that. It's cool to see guys progress from the start to the end of the season, or just to see the progression from last season to this season. Got to give a shout out to my guy Muttasim. Last couple seasons, 3-point percentage wasn't that great, and he's known to be one of the better 3-point shooters. Now this year, he's number 1. Much deserved. I'm really happy for him. And then another guy I want to give a big shout out to is Abdul Wahab. It took him a second to get comfortable, but once he got comfortable, he became a really big part of our offense. And he's also a really great defender too. I think he's top 5 in steals as well. So I think, team-wise, our season went well. Last week was tough. We had a good win against the Reapers. Unfortunately, I hurt my hamstring. So just kind of on the mend about that. We had a bad game against the Wolves, and then we had a really close one against the Bulls. So it was good to see my guys' kind of confidence increase just from that game, knowing that they can still compete. We had a shot to win as well too. So that's kind of where I stand in regards to how the season went.
I was looking. It's funny you bring up Motsim. They're putting out the awards, and they put Motsim's 3-point mates from last year. He made 5 last year. He made 5 3-pointers last year. This year he's at 20. I bet if you combined the 23 pointers he made, I think he made more this season than the past 2 seasons combined. Honestly, because the guy can shoot the ball. It seems like this year he's much more patient with just shooting the ball. Kind of gets his feet set and gets his feet under, and then he'll shoot it. He's hit big threes. Against the Bulls this past week, he had to step up. In the second half, I think he had like 4 threes, and he was letting it fly, and it was needed. Obviously, you want to get the wins, but in the end, you just want to see your teammates be able to step up and get ready for the playoffs. Especially seeing Abdul Wahab really seeing Abdul Wahab get comfortable is like a very nice thing because he's a good guy, brings good energy. So just want to shout out him. Also, Omar's kind of co-captain as well. Seeing him lead the team. Obviously, he has a tough time doing things that show up on the stat sheet. But he does a lot of the intangibles, hustling, bringing good energy, and that stuff matters, right? That's good stuff. Now let's go in general for the regular season. Ramsey and Hashim, what are like a couple things that surprised you from this regular season? We'll go with you first, Ramsey.
Yeah, I was more so surprised by the MVP ladder in the preseason. How they had Ahsan not even in the top 5. He had the finals win last year, so that's kind of a given. You should be expecting him in the ladder. As for the season, we see a lot of dichotomy in the ladder. There's like a split between the top seeds and the bottom seeds. Something that I've noticed. It's like the Reapers and the Stars, they haven't been performing as well as we expected them to. But playoffs is a fresh start, obviously. So I'm glad to see them in the playoffs, inshallah.
What about you, Hashim? What do you think about the regular season?
Assalamu alaikum. I thought the regular season went like sort of how you could expect it to go, other than the Lions maybe. I thought they were going to do a little bit better. It's not that they're doing bad, but I thought they'd be one of the more dominant teams. Muhari Bean doing a lot better than I expected, but when you have Yusuf, anything could happen really. And I mean, the bottom seeds, I didn't expect Uhud to be there, but they closed out the season pretty strong. So I think going into the playoffs, it's looking good for them. But yeah, everything went pretty much how I'd expected mostly. Reapers and Stars didn't do too great. Reapers did worse than I thought they would, but hopefully they can make something happen in the play-in. But honestly, nothing really that crazy happened in the regular season.
Yeah, for the Reapers, I obviously thought they would be better. I think they just have a lot of guys that weren't used to the summer league, and it kind of got a little spooky for them pretty quick. Like particularly Desmond, right? Maher had big expectations for Desmond, and I mean, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, but he kind of didn't meet those expectations. I mean, he had some really good games, like against the Stars. He had a really good game, moving the ball really well. Against who else? Stars. There was one more team, the Lions, when they had like a 15-point lead, and then they trying to squander the lead. So I mean, it was tough. It was tough for them. Yeah, I mean, Mohari being a number one seed for a reason, right? Yusuf is kind of doing his thing, electrifying plays, dunks, big time threes, acrobatic layups, and that just brings good energy to the. I mean, it brings the crowd into it, right? When Yusuf dunks, it's like that sort of 2-pointer is worth more than any layup, right? That you can make, right? So if you can dunk the ball, dunk the ball. You know what I'm saying? Now, is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to bring up about the regular season? Any other points, or we're good to go? Good to go. All right. Now, obviously, this past week, seedings were going. Nothing was set in stone, right? Seedings were going. Things were changing. So much was changing. Point differential came into play. Is there anything that caught your guys' eye this past week? Ahsan, anything that caught your eye this past week?
This past week, not really. I feel like things this week kind of played out the way that I expected them to, especially after I got hurt. We had a game against the Wolves, which I would have played in, and then another game against the Bulls. So those two games would have been like big in the standings race. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play in those, so a little bit harder for us to win those two games. So I think like after that is kind of like I think you kind of figured you knew how things were gonna go. Trying to think about like the other teams like Falcons or Lions. I think the rest of those teams outside of the top four, they were kind of set in where they were going to be at, just based off of like head-to-heads and even point differential. So I wasn't too surprised with the way the things that shook out. So not really.
What about either of you two? Ramsey, anything from this past week?
Yeah, something that I've noticed, especially in the past week, is Lions with Osher. They've been quite the force. They have a lot of momentum going into the playoffs, obviously after prime time and whatnot. It's kind of what we were expecting of them the entire season. They were supposed to be the dominant effort or dominant force, as Hashim mentioned. But we're starting to notice that develop as they kind of set in and Osher's return and everything. So that's something to look forward to.
Before Hashim goes, I'll just say one thing. Yeah, this past week, like Ahsan said, over the middle of the week, things kind of got set in stone, I guess you can say. I think after the Wolves beat the Dragons, like things were pretty much set with the seeding. Yeah, I mean, we played the Stars twice. 2 good games from us. I had a pretty good game against the Stars the first time. That was nice. And the second time, that was nice. But it was nice to see a Jawi come back. That's huge for us going in the playoffs. Things like that. The main thing is, during the last week, a lot of teams, they think, oh, we're good, right? We're good. Let's just kind of take the foot off the gas. My mindset was, no, we need to keep going, right? I mean, we could have easily chilled against the Stars the first time when we beat them by 20 plus, but, I just wanted to keep going and going, right? There was a play at the end of the game. Jabril got a steal, and he was going off the court. I said, shoot, we were up by like 20 at this point. But I told him to shoot it. We need it for point differential, right? And it also sends a message to the league, like we're here. You know what I'm saying? So everything you do, it just sends a message to the league, is what I would say. Yeah. Hashim, what do you got? Anything from this past week?
Other than like the Dragons, I think they would have been up there. Obviously, it was a tough last two games, Bulls and Wolves. But if they had their captain, I think the Bulls game was already really close, and the Wolves game, we have no idea how that would go. It was kind of Shoaib and Abdurrahman were getting theirs, but they could have been 9-3. It would have been tough games, but it would have helped his MVP case as well. So that was unfortunate that we didn't get to see that in the top of the standings. But also, Ohud, I thought they were going to split the series against the Stars, but winning those two is pretty big statement, and I think they closed off the season pretty strong. So other than that, not much really. I think Wolves kind of sold the one seed, with that second half performance. It's pretty sad to watch, but yeah.
Yeah, what's crazy about bringing up that one seed game, right, between the Wolves and the Mojave Bean. It was emotional first half for you guys, Ramsey, right? Very emotional. I think coming out of the second half, it was still emotional, right? But in the second half, at the those first like 2-3 minutes, when things were going on, I thought you guys played some like solid basketball, man. Like, it's nice to see Shazzy just put his head down and get to the rim. I think he had 4 points, and he just got to his spot because he's arguably maybe the strongest person in the league, right? Ahsan and Shazzy are in the top 3 or 4, and they're strongest in the league. And then I think Ramsey got a layup too, right, in that little stretch. And you also, like I said, remember that time against you were open under the rim and you yelled Yusuf, Yusuf. You did the same thing. You actually let out a battle cry, and I was like, oh, he speaks. Let's just real quick. I just want to talk about that game. I mean, you were on the court in the game. Like, what were the emotions of that game like?
Yeah. That was a fun game. The first half, I mean, we learned a lot from it. We learned what to do and whatnot. When we took that little break for halftime, I don't think Yusuf was expecting to play so soon. I think halftime was supposed to be 5 minutes, but it was cut to 3 minutes, I think, for the games after Isha or after Maghrib. But despite that, we had to play through it, and we did. We had Shazli leading us, and we made a lot of decisions that we normally wouldn't make, and I think that's helped us learn a lot. We had more confidence. We were playing better. I feel like a lot of our guys, they just need to take it up. They don't have to be afraid of the turnovers from getting blocked or stuff like that. As long as you're taking to the rim, I think you're making a good work with that possession.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, after Isha, it seemed like after Isha, Yusuf's energy was like very, very positive, right? He seemed like to play with more joy. So I mean that's huge, especially when you have teams of young guys, like just being happy and just seeing your captain is the head of the snake, right? If the captain's energy is not good, then everyone else's energy is not good. So it's contagious, right? Energy is contagious. I say it almost every episode about energy being contagious, and it's very true. So we got over the last week. We talked about just regular season stuff in general, and just award predictions and things of that nature. Now it's playoff time. The bracket is officially out. Let's try to go through the matchup one by one. Let's just do that. One by one, we'll go through each matchup. Instead of us talking about, all of us on separate teams, right? Let's talk about another person's team, because obviously, Hashim, if we talk about the Falcons, they're going to be like, oh, we're going to kill, blah, 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 right? So let's start with the play-in first. I'll talk about the play-in. We got Stars and Reapers in the play-in tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Big game for the Reapers, right? Because if you win, you're into the playoffs, and the Reapers' only win is against the Stars. So I mean, I'm not really sure what to expect, because both of these teams are very they're just, you never know what you're gonna get from them, right? I think the Stars are in good shape right now with Amir coming back, and Amir had some great plays against us on these past 2 games, and especially coming off a bum ankle. So hopefully, he can play through that. The Reapers are going to be without Desmond, so that's a tough loss. But I think, anything can happen this game. I'm not going to give a prediction for any of my games. I'm just going to say just small points, because I don't want anyone to come at my neck. I have other things to worry about this week. But nonetheless, it could be anyone's game. If Maher and Saif had a great game against the Stars the first time, if they can repeat that, right, anything can happen, right? But Amir and Hawar, right? Hawar can just do many different things, right? He can, if he makes the right play, it's anyone's game. But nonetheless, that should be a fun play in tomorrow. And then now we have Mohari Bean versus Mohari Bean versus Stars or Reapers. We'll just try and go over that real quick. Awesome. Let's go through that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of tough not to go with Marvin for that game. It's going to be tough for whoever they play against, Stars or Reapers. Although, Stars did get them in the regular season. So anything could happen in the playoffs. I think that should still be a fun one. It's always fun to see Yusuf play, especially high-level basketball, and then Shazli when he's aggressive. And then whoever comes out of that playing round has to make sure that they bring energy. Otherwise, it's going to be Mahari Bean's game. That's all I got to say about that one.
I know these Mahar Bean guys want their get back against the Stars, right? All right. So now we got Dragons Lions. Obviously, we have a dragon in the house. Ramsey, let's talk about Dragons Lions.
Yeah, the Lions, they're like I said, they have a lot of momentum going into the playoffs, but the Dragons are a very strong team. I think word is Ahsan is going to be back for that game, so it's going to be nice to see that, hopefully. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dragons this one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go with the Dragons in this one. I'm just noticing a lot of defensive efforts too from Amar Bachoyeb and Abdul Wahab. They're making a lot of good efforts. Eunice is obviously going to be there, so it's nice to see that they're working as a unit.
So we got, I think right now we have Mahari Bean Dragons semis, right, so far. Now we got Bulls Falcons. I'll talk about that one because obviously we have a Falcon in the house, Kaka. The Bulls are playing good basketball. I think they just came off that dub against the Dragons, right? They're confident. They're talking on the sideline. Zach, Elwal, constantly talking. Elwal was saying, "Bring the brooms out" against the Dragons. That's just, like I said, that's just energy for the team to feed off of. But however, I will say this: the Falcons play hard, man. The Falcons have the bodies. They have the defenders to keep up with the Bulls, right? You got Omar Coker, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, loves to block shots. You got Mustafa Cisse as well. He's in the most improved player contention, #1 in field goal percentage, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons can do it. They'll have to stop Rashid. Rashid is the head of the snake. Figuring out how to guard, pick and rolls and things of that nature is going to be very, very. It's going to be a headache. But I think Coach AK can do it, right? It's Coach AK. Coach AK watches a lot of film. If you know, you know. Just look at the Falcons games and on the YouTube, and you see Coach AK in the comments. I think Omar hasn't really shot the ball well, especially from the three. But the guy can get hot if he knows where to shoot it from. He can get hot. I've seen him do it just by playing. I mean, it's pickup, right? But I've seen him do it before, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he can do it again. And if others and Kareem Cisse, I know he's disappointed at his past game, especially from the free throw line. I think he had how many times did he go to the free throw line? Like 14, 15 times. Yeah, they missed 20 and they lost by less than 10, right, against the Lions, right? So I know Kareem is itching to get back on the court and trying to, get his just trying to right his wrongs of last game. So it'll be an exciting game between the Falcons and Bulls. Am I going to give a prediction? No, but I'm excited to see it. Never know what could happen. Omar can get hot. I'll say that. Omar can get hot once he gets his head downhill. He makes tough layups, and you never know if Hashim can come off the bench or Hashim or Sheikh Hamza, whenever they can come off the bench or whenever they can get their opportunity to shoot and they hit a three. The energy goes crazy in the crowd. So that should be exciting. Now the last one, tomorrow's game, 8:30, Wolves versus Ohud. Let's go, Hashim or Ramsey. We'll go both of you. Hashim, go first.
I think this one's going to be a good one. I think I've heard some people say Ohud, pull off the upset. But honestly, you have Raza playing like he's been playing recently. You got Gibby, who's actually hitting threes. Like, it's not just like, when I go in, if I make one, it's like a gimmick. But with him, it's actually like, reliable. He can make those. Ajawi's coming back. I think Osama is smart. He makes smart decisions. He plays, he just plays a smart game. I think it's really valuable. The Wolves, I think what's going to be key for them is keeping the consistency throughout the game. Like, they sort of drop off, like against Mahari Bean. and there's kind of chaos with like the different players, deciding what who's doing what or the mistakes they're making. They get kind of confused, I think, and I think you see similar things with the Lions late game, and different. There's different examples, but the Wolves just need to keep up the pressure like constantly and just sort of like stick to one thing or make adjustments throughout when it's not working. But I think Uhud could pull it off. Obviously, I think it depends on how well Yusuf and Rizgar play. I don't think Danish can take it all the way through. I think Danish can sort of come in like a Harun Vatrez and hit the big shots late when they need it. But he's definitely going to need those two to step up. But we have Raza averaging 40 against the Stars, so it's going to be pretty difficult.
Got anything to say, Ramsey?
Yeah, I do have some choice words for Raza. I actually do have on my prediction bracket. I have Uhud winning this game. In light of the news that Rafe won't be available for most of the playoffs. One big issue with Uhud is, they don't have the biggest size in the league, so having Rafe off the court would be very helpful for them. It'll benefit them a lot with the rebounds and whatnot. Hopefully we can see Reza. Hopefully Reza can become a playoff riser once again after last year's, tragic loss to Black. That was his reunion with his team, but it's all it is. It's in the past. This year's a new year, new playoffs. I'd like to see what they can do. Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. It'll be a fun game Monday. As far as last year, I guess we'll talk about last year. Black versus Red. That game, I'll say this, right? The final score, I think, was 48-40 or something. We had to play the foul game at the end. That's why the game kind of got a little bit out of hand, because it was like 42-40, and we just couldn't hit a shot in the last minute or so. But anyways, that's the past. It's Team Uhud now. Obviously we can sit here, we can predict the rest of the bracket, but obviously we're going to be biased towards our respective teams, so I don't think there's any use to that. But yeah, it'll be a fun week, great week. Excited for the playoffs, excited to see who'll step up and who's ready, because it's a different game, right? You think the regular season is fast? Wait till you play in the playoffs. It's a different speed. Now, admin on the YM Jacks B-Ball Instagram said, hey, if you have any predictions, throw them in the chat. Send it towards us. So I got the predictions from the admin. We'll just go through a couple of these. First one, we got Reaper Stars playing preview. We did that already. Lions are sneaky upset team. What do we think about that? Dragons, what do we think about that? Lions sneaky upset team.
No, I don't think it'd be that big of an upset, if they win the whole thing. Asher hasn't played like a lot of the games in this year, and when he has played, they've done really well. And I think even in some of the other losses, Khaled hasn't played. So like they haven't had their full team for a majority of this, for like a good bit of the season. So I don't think it's that far fetched to say Lions, are sneaky team to upset people. I don't think that's a bad take at all.
We got one more here for the Dragons. If Dragons have to without Ahsan, can they make a run? Ahsan, how do you feel about your team with that?
Yeah, absolutely. You saw how we played against the Bulls. I think they were up 14 at halftime. We came all the way back. We went up one. I think maybe 5 minutes or 4 minutes left in the game. So it's we can definitely do it. You just got to be a bit more disciplined, a bit more organized, and just got to stay together, essentially. I still like our chances, even if I'm not able to play on Tuesday, because I know Ramsey kind of likes to break news, but I'm not sure if I'm playing on Tuesday.
Also got to be able to run back on defense.
Yeah.
And Aftab had the craziest miss of the season against the Bulls. Insane. It was crazy. Maybe I'll put on Mashallah moments because it was too good. All right, here we go. We got some Bulls predictions here. With the emergence of Zayn Mushaba, does that make Bulls a favorite? Hashim, what do you think?
I'm not sure how their lineups are going to play out or who's going to be there, but he definitely had a really good game. And when they find him, he's there. He's going to hit the shots. They weren't giving him respect at the 3-point line. I noticed they weren't really, defending on him. And he was really knocking those down. And then after I was thinking that, he drove inside and got a nice finish inside, which is pretty tough. He can do that a lot. And, last year he didn't really get used that much on Team Black. He's on Team Black again, but when they used him, it worked really well. He had 16 points. And if he's there in his spot and he gets there, whether that's through off ball movement or somebody just not respecting his shot, and he knocks them down, that's definitely even more. They already have so much firepower from the main three, Rashid, Rooney, and Haroon. But if he's there, and again, if he can knock down the shots, I think 100% they can make a run all the way.
Yeah, I mean, Zayn Mushaba, I mean, he kind of won them the game against the Dragons, is what I would say. Like, 4 big threes, right? Confident, too. I think he was 4 or 5 or something. So, too bad he needs to wear his jersey more so he can have player of the game. But nonetheless, like, it's the little things, right? All right, here we go. We got some Uhud predictions. Uhud can make the upset over the Wolves. Anything is possible, is what I will say. And then we got one more right here. Wolves beat Uhud, and then Allahu Alam. Yeah, Allahu Alam. What else can I say? Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Isn't that the saying? Right?
I don't think I've heard that one.
Don't catch your eggs before they hatch. I don't know. Whatever it is. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. All right. We got a Ramsey prediction here.
Whoa.
Will Ramsey finally get his MVP recognition? 2 MVPs on Mohari Bean. This is breaking news for me.
Well, I wasn't familiar with whoever put this up there, but I mean, I've heard he's a winning player. Last year he was on Team Orange. This year he's on Purple Team, both number 1 seed. I don't know. It's a good argument. It's a good argument. Some could say.
All right, let's go with the last one right here. Do you think Falcons have a chance? We got a Falcon here.
Not if we're playing like the way we do to start games. I think we play really, pretty badly, honestly, to start games. And we always close out the games with like a ton of energy. But that's, you can't keep doing that. I think it was similar with like Team Red last year. That's how I felt. Like we would start the games pretty slow and then we'd like pick it up later. But with Falcons, it's just like way more extreme, like polar opposites. Like Sheikh Hamza will hit a big shot. Mustafa will hit a nice finish at the end. But, we missed 15 free throws before that. We turned the ball over a ton. A lot of mistakes. I could go on forever about the Falcons' mistakes. But we have a chance if we play the right way and, actually, learn from the film review that Coach put in the comments.
Yeah, Coach AK is always watching film. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we have for the episode. Big time playoff preview. I think this is about a 30-minute episode. Hopefully everyone watches it and enjoys it. I appreciate these guys for joining me. Ahsan, hope to see you out there, man. Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 8:30. Obviously everyone wants to see you out there. Arguably the MVP. Arguably up there in DPOI, things like that. So it should be a good it should be a good playoff. Excited for it. Excited to get active for Uhud tomorrow. And yeah, it'll be fun. Anything else? Anyone else want to say anything before we sign us out? Ahsan, got anything? We're all good? All right, guys. We appreciate you guys listening. Come to every game this week, man. It is going to be exciting. It is going to be fiery. If you can't come to the game, watch the live stream. Donish Shoaib, this guy, man, I don't know how he does what he does, but I don't know how he does it. But obviously, as a team, this man is the brains of everything, and everything he says he wants to do, he does. So big shout out to Donish, right? Obviously, I got to hate the guy tomorrow, but, big shout out to Donish for everything he does and all the team behind the scenes, the media team. There's a lot of content coming out this week. Like I said, if you can't make it out to the games, watch the live stream, leave comments, talk in the chat. We're trying to, arguably no one does it like how we do it in our league, right? And we're outdoor, which is crazy. Some of these indoor leagues, people got indoors, but we're outdoor in the trenches, 7 o'clock. Sun is scorching, but guys are out there volunteering, working hard. Ramsey's holding the camera. Hashim is taking pictures. Everyone's doing their thing. So yeah, it'll be exciting. Lots of good content. Like I said, lots of good content. Fiery week in the YM Jacks Summer League at ICNEF in Jacksonville, Florida. Hope to see you guys there. Hope to see you guys at the games. Assalamu alaikum.